And the leaves are falling, and so are my pants, so.
Did you just write a poem?
Your phone, you don't even know.
You just wrote a poem.
Another poem. Of fireflies. Once again, the earth has turned to show its summer mood. And once again, I stand to watch as I before have stood. The firefly, high in the tree, his mate low in the wood, flash their muted songs of love, as though they understood the silent music of that song and its eternal mood. As though they knew I've come to stand, as I before have stood. Yet if I don't, another will, as I before have stood. And let me see. I gotta tell you this, I didn't want to do any of the war poems which I've done around armistice days and so forth. But the other night, we went to a movie and we saw the Nazis chasing out the Jews and anybody who they thought was a little better than them. Anyway, so I just couldn't resist it, but something happened to me during the war. I'll just tell you briefly. I don't like to tell war stories. I don't want anybody to think that we were heroes. We weren't. War is man's failure. But during the war, we came in this town, I think it was Fulbush, Violet. I'm not sure. Anyway, there were two Jewish guys in my company. One was Goodman and one was me. And we were both oddly platoon sergeants. Anyway, I came into this town and I saw these guys, they looked like they were sick, in pajamas, thin guys. And Goodman said, "Purdy, come over here. I want you to see these guys. They're Jewish boys." And I went over and they put their hands on us. And I'll tell you, I've never forgotten the feel of those hands. They were putting their hands on healthy Jewish boys. And anyway, one guy held out his arm, and I saw the numbers on it. Anyway, so that's been with me for years. And it came out in this poem. I didn't want to tell any war poems, but I saw that movie and had to do it. So anyway, it's called, It Seems the Face. It seems the face, the aspects of the mind, the person in the flesh, the voice that rises to the feeling of his words, the eyes that say unpronounceables of being, erupting universal essence to the surfaces of sight. All these, it seems, were not enough to know a man, a woman, a child. They needed numbers on a wrist. They who blanked themselves with uniforms and boots, machining out all recognition, diminishing their souls to dwarfs of sterile order, emasculates of mind and body, who hid as cowards of unbeing, as digits in the armies of a super logic. They planted a new obscenity, committing suicide to murder numbers. Still they walk, eat breakfast from clean plates, sleep and copulate between clean sheets, die between clean sheets, dance, make music, automobiles, money, and human smiles on masks they planted guiltless, to parade as men in the lie they live, until that last number on that last wrist has faded to numberless earth. Thank you. I didn't mean to pull a war poem on you, but anyway. But now, the poem doesn't have to be many lines, I want you to know. A few lines. And we came home here to the United States, to our families, and what did we have? Peace. Just a few words. Peace. The storybook is open. Beside them, my sleeping wife, my sleeping granddaughter. Now, isn't that peace? Now I got one more I gotta go for. This is called, it's everyday life. This is part of peace too, and you have to have it. So, it's called Kitchen Kiss. Leaving you with your coffee and my kitchen kiss, I closed the door on weather, the radio news to numbness, and met the small magnolia tree toasting the morning, the sun, and springtime and me with pink and lush white cups, holding for sight and thought the feeling of the kiss you gave, taking mine. That's the news. Go tell them, synchronized with traffic lights along the one-way streets, or chasing anxious minutes through clattering mechanical days. Tell them, electric with efficiencies fads, defacing men to numbers. Tell them where they war and kill, a toast to seasoned love, a new song again in the magnolia trees, embracing the air, the earth, the mind that feels. And one more, and you'll all relax, but I gotta tell you about this one. This is a triolet. It's a very difficult form, and I thought it would be a challenge. Very few guys write it, and all you gotta do is find it. Anyway, it requires repetition of certain lines. It requires repetition of certain rhymes plus the lines, and has to have a certain meter, everything ba-bum, ba-bum, ba-bum. And it has to come out not mechanically, it has to come out as a poem. So here it is, I dedicated to my family. It's called At 88. Oh family, oh candles, my 88th year. I'm spry in my head with aches in my bones. We're born on this earth, only here is our here. Oh family, oh candles, my 88th year. We're each of each other. For life's joy, listen here. Raise flowers of love between the hard stones. Oh family, oh candles, my 88th year. I'm spry in my head with aches in my bones. Thank you. Sure. Anybody got any questions? I haven't gotten the answers. If I had answers, I wouldn't sit around like.
Okay?
Yeah,
Yeah.
just getting everyone's picture.
But for us young folk, can you give one really good word of advice as to how to make it to 90 with such a sharp mind and an insight and a sensitivity and all the good qualities that you have? Aside from being married to a wonderful woman.
Well, no, I couldn't tell you that the only way you could do it, but the rest of you can't do it. Because I'm the only one that's married to her. And that's why it happens. So get married.
Arthur, when do your ideas come to you? And how long does it take between when an idea comes to you and when it turns into a poem?
Some of them come out right away, you know, they just spit out of you. Others, you work on, you work on, you work on. But the better ones, I think, just go.
Just there.
Yeah. But the essence is always there. It's a matter of observation. And the matter too of glad to be alive. That's the whole point. I think I wrote it on the back of my books. You want to hear my history? I went to Indiana University in 1941. They had ROTC, and I was so lucky. I took from ROTC without any choice into the infantry. Boom, they had ROTC infantry. So they said, look, fellas, we're doing this. He said, sign up now. I mean, the professor would be drafted and gone away. Sign up now, and we guarantee you, you'll have a full semester more in school before you're drafted. So not only I, but my friends who were in different colleges did the same thing. They signed up. 4 months later, I was on active duty. I never trusted the government. Anyway, so I came back to Indiana. I was a pre-med, believe it or not. And you're so lucky that I didn't become a I came back and I said, I don't want to know what I'm going to be. I want to know what the hell I am. I mean, I just didn't see murder and what am I? So I started to read and study philosophy and started to read literature. I figured I'd run across a great mind that would tell it to me. Leviticus did it better than the rest of them, but it was great. And I promised myself that I would not let me know every day that I'm alive. So I write poems, because every day they tell me I'm alive. I can see what I do what I see. Anyway, thank you all for listening. Now, I've got the books here. If you want to buy a book, it's fine. The money goes partially to the temple, partially to pay for the books. And there should be no profits in between. So the only profit I hope you find is in the Word.